Back up that camera just a little bit. We're cutting off Dion's beautiful face. All right. I got it from here.
There.
Yeah, we're good.
Can you scoot over more?
No. See, look. You're in there. All right. You know what we always say. It's 6 o'clock. It's Wednesday night. It's Real and Filter Talk. I'm James Bryan alongside the two-time world bass angler champion. And tonight, saltwater aficionado.
Yeah.
Mr. Dion Hibden. Dion, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
How was your week?
It was great.
Hey, week, suh.
It was good.
We got a lot to talk about.
It was very good. Got to take a vacation.
A little vacay.
That doesn't happen very often
for the
me.
guy. Hey,
That's
for those that are sitting here eating tonight and have no idea what we're talking about, there is a Wednesday night fishing podcast called Real and Filter Talk. We've got millions and millions of viewers, maybe 8.
Tens and tens.
But you know what? Our followers have doubled in the last week, so we're cruising
Nice.
right along. It's kind of good. So we're going to talk a little fishing. We might get in the weeds a little bit and talk about who knows what.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, big news. Took a vacation, right?
Yeah.
A lot happened while you were gone.
Yeah.
I have a story to tell.
I'm ready.
But let's start with, I'm kind of excited to hear about your trip. Do you want to talk about it a little?
Oh, sure. Whenever.
Let's talk about it. So you went down to Louisiana?
Went to Venice, Louisiana.
Venice.
Stayed on a boat. Which that's kind of how they do it at Venice. There's not enough land down there to stay on, so you stay on boats, which is just a big barge-looking deal with a house sitting on it. Great accommodations. The little cabin held about 10 guys, had about 10 beds. We slept, we ate, we cooked. You know, cool air conditioner when we wanted to cool off. It was just a really nice facility. I mean, I enjoyed it immensely. But
I don't care about the sleeping.
the fishing was awesome too.
There we go.
The
Now
fishing
let's
was
have
awesome.
a conversation.
We, my buddy Peter T from Florida, the red snapper laws in Florida are pretty strict, and you only get to catch 1 or 2 is your limit, and only a couple times a year. And in Louisiana, it's quite apparent that they're overrun with them.
With red snapper?
With red snappers, because we basically went out in the Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of America now, that they call it.
Which do you prefer?
Well, you know, I didn't care until I got down there, and everybody's calling it something else, you know.
What are they calling it?
Gulf of America.
They're really using it?
Oh, yeah, they're serious about it, too.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, those people in Venice are very serious about it.
So they take their patriotism proudly.
That's right, they do. They're all Donald fans. But anyways, we, I mean, it's on T-shirts and everything else.
Really?
Yeah. But,
And by the way, thanks for not bringing me back a T-shirt.
well,
But
I didn't bring anybody back.
But I
T-shirt.
didn't thank you before. Thank you for bringing back. Guess what? I got some Gulf shrimp.
That's
so
right.
Thank you for
That's
bringing
right.
that back. That was awesome.
That's
Haven't
right.
ate any yet.
Well, by golly, you better get started. It's good.
I'm the dumbass that bought too many. You know, I mean, it takes a while to clean them.
It does.
Now, I had a bet with somebody.
You don't have to clean them all, though.
I did.
I froze a bunch of mine with the heads on them.
I was scared.
Yeah.
Because they say that if you take fresh shrimp, freeze them, then thaw them and clean them again. Well, I guess you could eat them right there, but you can't freeze them a second time. Because then they get mushy.
Yeah, but
You know,
but
mushy,
yours were
mushy.
never unthawed.
That's true.
Really?
But they kind of, I got them soft because I was deveining also.
Oh,
Which the bet was, you don't devein, do you?
no.
Yeah, I deveined all mine too.
Wow, that was a lot of work.
I know, right?
100
100 pounds
100 pounds.
of deveined shrimp, done. But I did leave the shells on though. So the trick is, you got to the point where if you're sitting long enough, you can kind of pinch it and twist it.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you can pull that vein right out. Sometimes you can pull it from the bottom up and get the vein right out.
Yep.
And the rest of the time you're just digging. Because I don't
Yeah.
use deveining tools. I'm old school. I can just get my fingernails in there and slide them right out.
Yep.
Of course, when you got 2 people drinking beer, Amanda and I, but she wasn't drinking beer. She was drinking vodka seltzers.
There you go.
But occasionally you're like, oh, this one had a full belly. You know, it's like you pull one out. It's like, oh, this one ate for the whole fleet. You know. And then we got discussion of, is it plankton or is it phytoplankton? What do Gulf shrimp eat? And I'm like, I don't care.
All I know were they were big son of a gun.
They were good size.
They were
It was
big.
awesome. So this red snapper,
Uh-huh.
not red fishing, red snapper fishing. You're off the coast. You're past the. You're out in deeper water. What's the depth?
Well,
What's-
as soon as you leave the Gulf out there, you're in 30, 40 feet for quite a ways.
Right.
You get out about a mile or so, and you get some holes. You start getting in deeper holes.
What do you consider a deep hole?
Well, 80,
Okay.
80 plus. Seemed like when we got to 80 the first day, that's where we caught them. But we were in a smaller boat, and we didn't want to, by being in a slightly smaller boat, we didn't want to take a chance of going out too much further.
Right.
Because you got to watch those little storms. It's the summertime down there, so there's a storm every day, and you just kind of watch it come down the coast, and you get out of its way.
Well, and I saw some pictures too. It was kind of I don't know the term sausage party, but a meat plant was inside that boat.
There was a lot of people
There
in
were a lot
there.
of dudes in there, and
We had
and
eight.
all your friends aren't small either.
We had 8 guys who went. There
Some
was
brutes.
eight of us, and some of us are built like me, and
Or bigger.
or bigger.
That's right. Not talking about you, Peter T.
But anyways, we we went out there as far as we dared, and put the trolling motor down. At that depth, we were using, I think, a 12-ounce weight. You hook that dude on, you send it to the bottom, and you know you're around them when it gets to be about 50 foot in 80 foot of water, and they start whacking it on the way to the bottom.
What was the bait? Live bait?
Well, no, some sort of.
Frozen smelt?
Well, it all, you can use anything, absolutely anything. But we used, the best was tuna pieces that Mac the Knife kind of provided at the fish cleaning
Gotcha.
table. Any scraps off of tuna worked. Squid, you could buy squid, $20 a box, which is quite a bit. You know, that
Like a
got
case.
that gave four of us. You know, 4 of us. We bought a case for each boat, and that got us through a whole day of fishing. But you know, you just use a piece. You know, put a piece on there. You know, we thought, well, the bigger the piece, they've got a small mouth, nothing will eat it. Well, that's not true, because we put on some fish that big, and they ate them too. We caught some speckled trout out there and used them for bait. Just sent them right back down. But the problem is when the current doesn't move. The first day we got there, even with a 20-ounce weight, your line is at about that angle at 80 foot. I mean, it's going back, it's 50 yards behind you when you hook the fish. The current's pulling so hard. So you basically just kind of put her along with the current as it's pushing you backwards. The only day that it didn't pull, we had went out there with a buddy of ours that lives down there that had a big boat and all the right gadgets and everything. And we got out there and our baits went straight to the bottom. And we probably caught 50 different sharks that day, ranging in all sizes. And
Now that's considered junk fish, right?
yeah, they don't like them. They let them all go, and everything's fine, but they don't keep them or nothing like that. But it makes it hard to land a fish. You can't land those red snappers. When you hook one, you got to wind his butt straight to the boat, and guess what?
Shark gonna grab 'em.
Everything you hook in the ocean is pretty damn tough. And me being in my weakened state that I had been in, it was hard for me to get one out away from the sharks.
What was the average red snapper size?
Oh, I would have to say 6 to 10.
Yeah, pounds?
6 to 10
So that
pounds.
would be hard for you to reel in because you don't know much past 5.
Well, I'm telling you, some of them was
So.
good ones. And like I say,
Did you
when
get
they're
that
down
sarcasm?
there, yes, oh yeah,
Okay, all right.
I did.
Just making sure.
But the first 20 yards or so that you're winding in, it's pretty dang tough. Once you get him kind of broke loose from the bottom, it's not that big a deal. But also when you get him broke loose from the bottom, that's where the sharks start chasing him.
Gotcha.
So it takes you about 30 seconds to realize you don't want to get in. I mean, because when it takes a 20-pound red snapper and bites it off right behind the head, just bites it clear off. And normally it's just a thump, like you had a bite, and everything goes dead. You wind it in, you got a head. So it's pretty amazing how sharp their teeth are.
That's kind of a disappointing story.
We used a 2-hook rig a lot. And the best catch was about a 20-pound snapper and about a 8-foot long shark. I fought it for about 30 seconds and told Peyton I was done with that, and I handed him the rod. And he says, "I don't want it. You keep it." And I said, "I'll throw it in the damn lake." I said, "You better take it." And he took it, and how he landed the snapper is beyond me because they eat those sharks too while you're landing them.
So it took no bass fishing expertise
no,
to go saltwater
not
fishing.
really, not really. The red fishing is marsh fishing. You get out there, you throw a chatterbait and spinnerbait around the grass, and that's how you catch them. And you basically just look for the birds, find out where the mullet's at and the birds and the finger mullet up in the grass. And once you find them, you just take off whooping a spinnerbait around and catch them.
Catch what?
Redfish.
Oh, you did catch redfish?
Oh, yeah.
Never saw a picture.
Well, we got some.
Oh,
I got some pictures we can put up there somehow.
Well, we really don't care.
I'm not big on sending pictures. I look at it one way. You want to see them, you better go.
He called me and he said, "Hey, I'm down here." He said, "We caught him." I said, "You got pictures?" And he said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Are there pictures of you holding fish?" "But God, there will be." So I got a picture of fish in a bucket and then one of you holding it. So it was fair enough. 50-50.
We got to see the tuna and sailfish and stuff like that. We're about 50 to 75 miles on out. Only the great big boats were getting them,
Right.
And the fast boats with 4 engines and stuff like that. 45
Racing to
foot,
the good spots.
yeah. Big 40-foot scarab type deals. Got big engines on them. They just have a bigger range than we had.
So, fun fact, I have never been saltwater fishing.
Really?
Ever.
Well,
Never. Nope.
It's pretty dang cool.
Yep, I've never put a hook in saltwater.
And the cool thing about it is everything in the ocean pulls hard.
Yep.
You finally we caught a permit one day, and a permit to me is the most unorthodox looking fish. You wouldn't think he could swim out of sight the way he's shaped, but he's the baddest fish. I mean, just super strong, and got a little bitty old thin tail. I mean, just the tail isn't that wide, and the one we caught was about a 20-pounder, but he's got a big old body, big old flat body, comes down to a little narrow damn tail that's about that long. But let me tell you something, you hook into him, you don't want no part of him as soon as you hook into him.
Kind of like a carp here in this lake.
He's
They just
tough.
don't give up.
He's tough.
Huh.
But that's the neat thing about it. You see everything. As some of the pictures show, as you could see when we were bottom fishing, 2 boats of us, there's lots of time we weren't 50 foot apart. And we had about 150-pound tarpon come up and eat between us. And here we are sitting shooting a breeze, talking back and forth. And this giant damn fish, this wide body, comes up right in the middle of us and eats a minnow right in front of us, And
is that kind of the Jaws line where you go, "Hey, we need a bigger boat"?
Yeah, we definitely did a time or two,
If you're not a Jaws fan, you won't get that line. So
the one that Peyton caught, the 1 8-footer, you think, okay, what's next?
Right.
And there's a lot bigger ones,
And that is a kind of a good point. When you're fishing freshwater lakes, you've got 5 to 10 species of fish. You've got that range. But out there, you just never know.
Yeah, there's no limit to what
you
you
got
might
a general
catch.
idea what's schooling there,
Yeah.
but occasionally something's going to pass through and wake you up, right?
Yep. And it's fun, it's just I think that's what excites me about it as much as anything is the fact that everything swims out there.
Just never really took you for a bait fisherman.
I'm not really,
It's like give me a ballyhoo, give me a jig, give me something I can flip.
We
give
tried
me a piece of tuna.
We tried
and
throwing
drop
at
it
some
80
of the
feet.
oil rigs and stuff like that to catch some other fish, and they just weren't biting that good.
Yeah.
Fishing was overall pretty tough. A lot of guides were griping, complaining. Those big boats, I mean, that's a $4,000 or $5,000 trip, and they were running, like I say, spending the bulk of their day running, and still only catching half a dozen fish.
Right.
But they were catching a few tuna. We got to see one guy had like 7 tuna one day and 3 sailfish, which is cool. Cool to see a different kind of fish. But But anyways, it was fun. It was a hoot. It's different. It's kind of like me going deer hunting in Kansas. It's just so much different than the way I do it.
But it's kind of fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
The boat riding, going back and forth, because those boats are made for multiple people, like 4 and 5 people. So the seating's not good in them. So you end up sitting on a hard-assed old deck of a boat, until the last day. And the last day, our guy that took us out in his big boat, he says, "You want a beanbag?" And I'm like, "Well, hell yeah, I want a beanbag. That sounds like a wonderful deal."
You sat in a beanbag chair?
A beanbag. I was asleep in 30 seconds when I laid down to go out there that morning. I didn't make it to the mouth of the river. No way. No how. I was dead asleep. Sunburnt the underside of my chin. I was asleep so hard.
Really? Huh.
Needless to say, you get out there, you get to working hard at it, pulling in them big fish and stuff. You want to take a break? Beanbag's a mighty comfy deal.
Note to self: get your
And
beanbag.
And all of those great big boats carry them because they can kind of wad them up, put them under the deck, put them out of sight, or put them up on top of their sun deck deal and let them ride up there while you're just out there fishing. But super comfortable. I mean, I'll have my own beanbag by the time I go back. Might have my name inscribed on it.
Nice. Huh.
Might
All right.
carry it bass fishing.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but it's pretty nice.
All right. So, we done with saltwater fishing?
We can be sure.
I think we're done, right? I have a big story.
I'm listening.
So, we've done this show for quite some time now. I think we've gone past a year, and we're cruising on. We're into our second year now. And the first year, you poked a lot of fun at me. What? You can't hear me? I'll get closer to the speakers. Let's see here.
Somebody from the hearing impaired in
How
the
about
crowd
that? Is that a
can
little
hear.
better? Is that a little better? Whoa, now I got feedback. All right. I know he said Lloyd didn't give us all that money to use that. I got it. So there we go. That'll get us a little bit better. How's that? Is that better? So last year, you all, and you made a lot of fun of me because we were the 12-pound stringers. 12 pounds all year long. 12 pounds, 12 pounds, 12 pounds.
Now I know where you're going.
Right. Well, you haven't really said anything, but this year we've been fishing, but we haven't had under 12 pounds. We've been doing 14, 15. This week, while you were gone, 16.
I know. That's something.
So I have stories to tell. I have lessons to give.
I'm
Because-
ready.
First of all, I have to say that I've been catching 12 pounds when Dion would tell me where to fish. And he was gone this week, and we caught 16.
There you go.
So maybe I
That's-
need to stop listening to
That
Dion. But there is stories that there are morals, lessons from all of this. Number one, you can say true or false. Okay. Rule number one: you're only as good as the information you can gather. True or false?
true.
I agree. So we've got a guy who comes in here all the time. He's a pretty good stick, but he always lies because that's called misdirection. Are you catching fish?
Right.
Nah, I'm not catching fish. Well, that's horse crap because he's fished for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So number one, that's it. But occasionally, an angler will screw up, and he'll say something that'll get your attention. So Thursday before tournament, guy rolls in. I said, "Hey, did you catch him this week?" He said, "I never caught anything over 4 feet deep." So that tells you that caught fish,
Shallow.
and he caught them shallow.
Yeah.
So if you get somebody you know is catching fish that they don't quite give you all information, but they give you a tip like that,
Just enough.
you've just eliminated 80% of your water. There's places where you can go catch your fish. That eliminates deep water docks and brush. That eliminates main lake points, ledges, bluffs, pretty much a lot of your fishing water. So, as we've all been talking for years, where would I go first?
Well, I know.
Magic spot.
That's right.
That's right. So we decide we're going to go magic spot. Now, lesson number 2. If you're fishing in a bass tournament, boat position is always crucial. And the reason why, the earlier you pay, the quicker you can get to that spot before everybody else does. Now, if you're in a big lake, if you're in a small lake, there really aren't, and this is a true or false, there really aren't that many primary spots to fish. Everybody knows where they are now. We've been fishing for hundreds of years. And if a lake is 110 miles long, there are 200 good spots. True or false? Roughly. Yeah. You know where they're at. Everybody knows where they're at. So you got to get there. And in the summer, we're looking at morning bites primarily. True or false?
Somewhat, yes.
Yeah, somewhat. Now, there is bites later, and we'll get to that story. But morning bites in the summer are pretty crucial. You know, that first light bite is good. So we go to Magic Spot. And we start down. I'm trying to paint a really good visual of this. There's a creek side where the creek channel runs up kind of by the edge. And at the end, where the creek comes in, is a washout hole. Washout hole, not washout hole. And generally there's some wood and stuff in there, and it's kind of hung in there, and you can go up there, and when those fish move shallow, you can catch them. The other side of the bank is 200 yards wide, 200 yards long, flat, and there's grass on the other side. You can navigate a boat through it, but you really got to, you don't have any water left. It's about 2 feet deep. You kind of got, know it.
Yep.
Everybody got a visual there? So we always start on the creek side, and we go all the way to the end of the creek, swing around, come back out the edge of the creek channel, and leave. This particular morning, we get to our spot. We start on the creek channel. We go all the way down, and I'm going to the end where the washout hole is. And I noticed after we've been fishing for about 10 or 15 minutes, which in that spot, for me, that's pretty thorough already. But we're getting back to the washout hole, and a boat comes in. Now, I'm not going to name names, but guy comes in a boat on the opposite bank. He's been a guest on our show. And he comes down the bank, and he's fishing fast. And I'm looking at him. Lesson 3, and we've talked about this. Let's back up a little bit. Lesson 3 that I'm going to share with you. If you have a good spot you're going to fish, don't wait. You got to go there because someone else is going to fish, right?
Right.
So I know the washout hole is a good one. So I tell Dad, I'm like, he's going to go down there. He's going to try to cut across. He says, no, he ain't going to do that. And I said, no, he definitely is because you can see him fishing fast. He's throwing topwater. We're throwing finesse worms and jigs. As we're fishing slow and thorough, we're picking the sticks. He's covering water. Which, true or false, topwater baits are a search bait. Basically. So, I speed her up a little bit, and we're going to fish a little faster. I'm going to get back there, and I'm going to position, lesson 17, position your boat in a way to where another angler cannot access your water.
That's right.
Make it broad, make it wide, cut them off. In fisherman's terms, cut them off. But do it in a way that's not so apparent. Okay? So I get down in front of the washout hole, and I kind of cut her wide. And we nose facing the other boat. And at this point, they're 50 yards away. Dad? Ed? 50 yards away at this point?
Yeah.
So he gets into about 20 yards, which in the fishing world is about casting distance. If you're flinging a whopper plopper, you're within casting distance. And I yell over, hey, get out of my spot, jokingly. And he responded, you picked your bank, I picked mine. I said, okay.
There you go.
All right, that's fine. So power poles go down. Bzzz. Now I'm at anchor. And we know the rules there. You know, you don't get any closer. So he makes a pretty long cast over. It plops over about 15 feet from the boat. He makes about 10 cranks. Hangs a 4-pounder.
Oh.
Right in front of me. And Dad pulls it up, and I said, wow, that's pretty good. I said, what'd that go? He said, about 4 pounds. I said, nice. So he goes to fishing, and Dad turns around and flings one the other direction at him, topwater. Hits really close. He goes, oh, I didn't know you were fishing this way. He said, well, I am. They pack up and leave. Okay? Rule number 5 in the story, never leave fish to find fish. So if we're going to break this whole thing down, and the story gets a little further, he catches a fish, he kind of gives the smirk, rolls out. What he did is he just showed us that those fish were living there.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no 1 4-pounder schlepping around. Now, let's break down a little bit more of the conditions of the day. We're in 3 to 5 feet of water. The wind is blowing directly back there. So we know there's a presence of bait. We know there's structure. We know there's everything. He catches one fish and leaves. So we meticulously start fishing. And we catch a 4 and a 3 and a 3 and two 15 fish, 15 inchers, in that one 30-yard stretch. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we got 14 and a half pounds. Pretty happy. And that produces. And then we start having that conversation. Do we camp out, really pick it out, but not for our viewers knowing the spot. You know the spot, I know the spot. That's pretty good fleece job.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
You know, we fleeced out everything we can fleece, and we went up the bank behind where he went back down a second time, went back up the other end, and we picked every stick, rock, and stone we could, because we know other people know about the spot. So if they're going to come in, we left nothing to spare. No scraps, right?
Right.
Cleaned the hole, and we left. So I tell Dad, I said, let's go out Main Lake. I'm going to get a big glide bait. We're going to get us a 6-pounder. So we're going Main. Now, there's no current. There's no wind out on the Main. It just was stagnant. And we fished out there for 2-3 hours. Fishing points, fishing, all the things that we talk about in the podcast. Find those little cuts, the wind's blowing in by the end of a bluff, some transitional water, a dock off of the main point, nothing. Not a short fish, not a keeper, no shad that we could see on scope, on anything, nothing. So by 9:45, we have a really good limit. We're pretty happy. But from 9:45 to 1:10, no fish. No shorts, no nothing. And that's a grind. I hate summer fishing because of that.
Makes for a long day.
Yep. So we're kind of picking off spots, a brush pile here, a brush pile there, maybe we can find them. And regardless of what the story is true or not, I told Dad, I said, you want to go, he's got a spot where there's a bunch of old docks, half sunk, nasty, broke, twisted up. I said, you want to go fish that spot? He's like, let's go try it. Well, it's a spot where one person can get up there and it's really tight, and you can flip in there, but the other guy's sitting off the back, kind of casting out the back of the boat. And if you stand up there, it's so tight that two guys really can't flip because it's small and tight. So he flips around, he catches a couple keepers, and I think we called maybe one. And then he flipped in again with a little 5-inch finesse worm on a shaky head, and he loads up. I mean, he loads up. And he says, oh, you know how they do the shutter? Oh, I call it the, oh. And I'm watching, and from the back of the boat, I can see him show his head. And when those big fish get really big, they can head thrash in the water, but they can't really jump out.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, holy cow, that's a good one. So, grab the net, and in true fashion, I stab and miss him, hit him in the head. He runs under the cable. He runs out of the cable. He goes up towards the walkway. He gets him turned like 2 or 3 times, which fish we never should have landed. But at 1:45, he puts a 5/16 on top of it.
Nice.
Yeah, up there, shallow, where they live.
Yep.
And so we go in and weigh out, and it was 16 something, 15 something, 16 something, 1661, which only got us 4th.
Oh.
I know it wasn't really far off, but still, great day.
Yeah.
Just by all the things I said, a lot of people I think would get dissuaded if somebody catches a big fish in front of them and leave. Not the case, right?
No need.
I think we did a textbook perfect.
The thing of it is you can get so complacent with a spot, and that's why I hate doing it. And I've only got a half a dozen spots on Lake of the Ozarks that I actually fish that much.
Right.
That I do anytime I'm around them. I stop and fish them. And you guys have made it an art form out of that place. Is that a good spot? Yes, it is.
I don't think so.
It really is, though, because it always replenishes. For some reason, fish come on back there. They
Right.
come back to it. They come back to it every time. I mean, you give it a couple weeks, it's good again,
Right.
or it's decent again. And in that particular case, is that the first time you fished it this summer? Because you haven't fished all the tournaments.
So let's talk about the term checking. All right.
Uh-huh.
So guys don't know what checking a spot is. You can fish an area pretty thorough, or you can check it. And what I mean by check it is you roll in quick, come off pad, shut down, go in right to the good spots, and toss 4 or 5 times. If you don't pick up a fish, you're out. Point by sees you there. We checked it a few times, never really had a good process. But I can tell you the 4-pounder I caught, we had worked down the bank. He caught his 4-pounder. So I flipped up to the washout hole, and if anybody's fished a bridge, like a low water style bridge or any kind of a concrete bridge, it has a concrete pad where the water flows through. When it runs over, it'll wash out. I'll give you a great example. The end of a boat ramp
Creates a hole.
Any boat ramp, for 2 reasons. You have runoff that runs down and it washes out underneath it, makes a ledge, a flat surface edge. Or every time you back a boat off, you're blowing out the debris there and you make a hole. And if it's a popular ramp, the hole's bigger. So those create natural cover for a great spot to fish. Well, this spot's no different. And that bass was laying on that ledge. Problem is, you figure something like that out and that's pretty awesome. Went and fished all the other spots just like it, never caught one. So pattern, not so much. The fact I think that the wind was blowing the bait back there and there was grass and there was cover, it's like the perfect storm at the right time of the year and it worked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you go back there on a day when the wind's not hammering in there. Might have not been quite as good, but
right.
That particular day, all the ones that are out on that big flat where the other guy came in,
right,
might have pushed on up in there a little bit, chasing those shad on up in there.
But I think topwater's a great tool. And if you go to a spot like that and you fan cast, which is you start whichever you're right hand or left hand, you just kind of systematically kind of cover water. You find a fish, typically in an area that you're fishing that's less than 5 feet deep. You catch a fish on topwater. I'm just saying this, and you can disagree or not. I believe he's relating to a rock, a stick, some kind of a structure, and you pulled him off. He's came out of that and got it. Well, there's more things like that.
Yeah, sure.
I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree.
I was asking your son. I wasn't talking to you.
He's probably
eating, so
he's probably eating, not paying attention.
So I'm not saying that
it all depends, but odds are those fish there relate to shad a bunch too.
I agree.
It's food in there.
I do agree. The problem with the whole story is that I've been having trouble emulating that spot to 5 or 6 other spots just like it. And that's what you said we made an art form of it. It's just the only thing that we can find in that area within 5 miles that relates to it.
And the crazy thing about it is there may not be anything else like that.
No.
I mean, I've put a lot of thought into it, and I can't say that there is, but the thing of it is you learn a little bit, just like that guy coming in there, this weekend. That may have taught you all you need to know, about expanding out a little bit in there.
Right.
But you are 100% correct about, leaving fish to find fish. If you're around them, stick with them. I've made the comment a million times. Everybody says, "Oh, would your dad have caught more fish because of forward-facing sonar than he did without it?" And I tell them, my dad would have dominated everything because of spot lock. Spot lock and power poles. Power poles made my dad a better fisherman, and it's nothing more. And I wish I would have listened to him at a younger age, because I find myself now, I pull up behind those docks a lot of times, and I catch one, on your first cast or two, up under a dock, and I put my poles down a lot of times just so I can re-rig, get everything right, get my fish in the boat, redo my jig trailer, retie, that way you're not screwing up and breaking your line on the next fish you encounter. But basically, it lets you settle down just a little bit. And lo and behold, 90% of the time, you pick up and start pitching around, you'll catch another one. There'll be another one right there. Mm-hmm. And if you just blow in there, catch one, spin the boat around, oh man, that was a lucky deal, and you just leave it, odds are you left another one in there, and it's hard to go back. When you catch one, it's hard to make yourself run from a half a mile away, oh, I'm going to go back and try that again. You won't do it because I fished it pretty hard. And really, in all reality, did you fish it real hard? No, you pulled in and you caught one on about your first or second cast, and then you made a lot of noise, landing the fish, getting the fish in the boat, and odds are you spooked everything else that was left. So is it a good idea? If it was good for one big one, it's good for another one. That's the thing. Big fish are fairly territorial, but they also know what's good for them. And whatever made it good for one, made it good for two or three.
Yeah, no, I get that. I forgot what I was gonna say.
I love to chase those bigger ones because it's a lot like hunting, a big deer and stuff like that. You get big ones that when you pull into a cove and you catch that 5 or 6 pounder. That's it. That's probably the only one in there. Because of the amount of cover that's there, what's there, what's not there. I don't mind fishing those ones that don't have a lot of cover because you can do it pretty fast. You can pull in there, catch the one that's there, and you're done with it. You don't go back because you probably caught him,
Well, so
So you just got to use your head, but still.
I know what I was gonna say now. You
I'm ready. Go.
So if I take, let's imagine that we have everything in layers. You peel a layer off and you got what's underneath, okay? If you take my spot versus the tournament we fished together, that spot where you caught those two big fish, okay? And you take a layer and you pull off all the docks, and the other side I pull up all the stuff. Those two spots are about the same depth.
Yep.
About the same contour of bank, and really
Facing the same direction.
facing the same, yeah, but on two completely different ends of Lake of the Ozarks. They're 60 miles apart, but still hold fish the same way. One's clear water, one's dirty water. So, and I think we fished in the summer too, didn't we?
Yes.
So I guess my question is, well, I can't figure out, and I think it's maybe misconception. When the water gets to be in the 80s, even up to the 90s, I think the average bass angler, including myself, we typically want to think that bass go deep in cooler water, they go deeper in the structure where it's easier to catch because they want to get down there in the cooler water. And that is 100% wrong.
Yep.
I mean, it's completely wrong.
It's just like you or I. We walk back out here, and you work around out there in the sun for just a minute. And when you stop to take a break, when you just, okay, I'm going to stop. You don't stop right in the middle of the sunshine. You walk to a piece of shade. You walk to whatever shade you can see. You walk over there. You lean up against that wall, because it's cooler. And them bass are the same way. Shade makes a huge difference to those fish.
Went to the state fair yesterday. Same thing.
Same thing.
We're walking out there in the asphalt and the heat, and I'm like, let's go over that sidewalk because there's trees over there.
That's right. And
I'm a bass. Didn't know it.
And it's just that simple. You don't see giant buck deer standing in the middle of a field because they're very unprotected.
I always see them
when you do his.
But not in the summer.
When you do his deal, Stiff, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's by accident. I'm just telling you. It ain't
He's
by
looking
accident.
for love in all the wrong places? Gotcha.
He's been led astray.
Gotcha.
There's a doe right there in front of him.
He's like, what am I doing out in this field
That's
all
right.
of a sudden?
That's right.
I was chasing Edna.
Everybody's, it's all common sense, and a bass is no different. And I made comment about it just a minute ago. We're finally to the part of the summer where, okay, now the water temperature's hot.
Mm-hmm.
The surface temperature is hot. So now you can add in that shade deal a lot. Shade makes a difference.
So
when you get dirt shallow. Now if you're not fishing up dirt shallow, it means less. Because, when you're out swimming and stuff, when you dive into the water, when you're at your ultimate depth, 5-6 foot, it's cooler. Or your feet are cooler when you're swimming. Guess what? A fish, all he's got to do, he sinks down. He gets cooler, he comes back, So, you have to keep that in mind. But when he's in 4 feet or less, all the time, everything's pretty warm. So he's going to have to seek out the shade to find a cool spot.
Right, but let's also talk about the one thing that everybody talks about: thermocline and oxygen levels.
Sure.
So
That does not come into play right now.
that's where I was going with that.
It's too deep.
The thermocline is way down there. But second of all, we've seen something kind of strange happen here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and no matter what state you're in the country, and listen to this, we finally got the lake filled up. So we've been down 2 or 3 feet, 2 feet, but now we're at full reservoir, full pool, which is 660 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
So that's how they gauge it. But with that happening, we had a lot of northern rain. The upper dam dropped some water through, and they got us back up full. But we had a lot of rain, so the grass is really green. So when the lake came up, there's green grass all along the shorelines. Well, that's oxygen. I mean, I don't even know, saturated.
Oxygen, shade.
So they've got there's all those necessary tools that you have that are there that'll help you, right? At least I think so.
It will, if it would stay this way for another 2 weeks, this kind of water depth, you could probably throw a buzz bait straight in the air and catch one.
Right.
Because they're going to eventually find it and move up to it. And another thing, a lot of the guys who are here today were talking about the minnows that they were seeing. Lots and lots of minnows. Those are minnows. Yes, they are. But they're also fry, is what a lot of that fish is, that you're seeing in the little herds running around the bank. It's a fry of some sort, whether it be gar fry or, I don't know. It could be absolutely anything by this time of the year. But that's those little minnows that are that long. Well, a lot of that's fry. And those are still seeking out hiding places.
Right. One of the online questions we have was, and I'm trying to read between it because I think there was a word missing, but it says, do you still for shad this time of year? I think, do you still look for shad this time of year? Absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, I think you always look for shad.
Yeah.
I think all year long you look for shad.
If you're not around them, you're not going to be around a huge population of fish. Can you catch them without them? Yeah, you can, but it's much easier with them in the area. Makes them bite better.
So I'm going to be argumentative. There's a theory out there, and maybe it's my own theory, but I'm going to throw it out there as if it was somebody else's. Have you ever thought about if the wind changes direction, okay? Let's say the wind's been blowing into a bank for 2 or 3 days. Then it changes or goes away. Shad will scatter and leave too, right?
Sure.
So, and if the wind changes direction, they'll generally get pushed that way because the phytoplankton that shad eat, they'll follow it's the cycle. They follow them and change them. But bass won't go that far, right?
Primarily, no.
They're not going to go across the lake, and they're not going to go out to the middle of the lake. So when those shad get out there, sometimes I feel like I can go for a change of pace to go off the wind to the other side of the lake and get away from the bait and everything else because in my thought, there'd be a hungry fish over there.
I think you have certain fish that won't leave them, that won't leave the bank. They find the perfect hiding spot. They're not leaving it. There's enough bluegill in the lake, enough minnows in the lake, enough crawdads in the lake that they don't have to actually chase the shad around. And it's different where we live.
Right.
Because there's so many shad everywhere. There's shad.
This kind of poses a good question for you. So let's say that bass anglers out there, and you've been like we just did. I don't even know what a finesse worm is supposed to represent, but I would say it looks like a shad at some point.
Looks like a minnow feeding on the bottom.
Yeah, he's like down pecking. Yeah.
That shaky head makes it stand up, and that little straight tail worm just steps back there and kicks, and it looks like a minnow feeding on the bottom.
Right. So let's say that. Well, let's don't say it. It did work. That worked for us on Saturday. Worked well. Had I gone to the other side of the lake, off wind, away from shad, would my best bet to have been on a lure selection to switch over to, let's say, a bluegill colored jig, or something crawdad related, and flip to and I hate to use the term picking jig, but I think people understand that better. A flipping jig with a craw trailer and switch it up to represent something that may not be present that we're used to when we're patterning fish?
When I throw a jig around a boat dock, it's pretty basic. It's either going to be black and blue, and when I say black and blue, I'm talking straight black, and then a black trailer on the back of it with a little dab of blue mixed in with it. And that's because if you're pitching it back in deep, deep shade, okay, it's just like fishing at night. Black's the best color at night because it throws off a better silhouette. If you want to get more natural to it, the other color jig that I throw is a bluegill color of some sort. And it's strictly because where I'm putting it. I'm putting it under boat docks.
Now, when we're talking bluegill color, we're talking
browns,
blue and orange and brown?
Browns, greens, browns, greens, green pumpkin. You can't go wrong with green pumpkin.
No bright stuff?
Not a lot of bright stuff. I mix a little bit in with it.
So, I'm getting in the weeds.
Sure.
Why back in the day did everybody throw a black and yellow jig? 'Cause that was a hot thing for a while.
Two very contrasting colors. Two very opposites. So that goes
but
to
it
show
wasn't
right there.
chartreuse, it was yellow.
Yellow.
If you were an angler in the 80s, early 90s,
Yep.
you had a bright yellow and black jig.
And that's why black and blue works. Black and blue, you can look at them and, even from a distance, you can see black and blue. Black and yellow, basically, from distance it might look black and white, but it's black and another color. And it's the contrast. It's the two colors. Like I said,
So basically the same thing.
I think fish see silhouettes more than they see, oh, that's green pumpkin with a little bit of blue in it, or that's black with red flake. I don't think they see it that well. I think they look down there like, oh, there's a bluegill. And it looks like, a jig with all of its fluff and everything, and the trailer you put on it. This time of the year, I throw trailers that swim, kick, because I want it to look basically like a bluegill. For the most part, all my trailers are going to have kicking feet on them for the most part right now, because I'm pitching it into places, swimming it out some, or I'm pitching it into places, letting it sink to the bottom, and that's so I want something that's going to swim, look pretty natural. I keep my colors, like I say, pretty basic. If I'm throwing in really, really deep dark shade, black and blue. If I'm not, it's going to be a green pumpkin and a variation somehow of that, and you're good enough. And my dad would have dickered with you on this a little bit, because on occasion you can tweak the colors around and get a few more bites. Now when they're not biting and it's hard, then you take time out to put a little bit extra color into your jig, make it look exactly like that bluegill or crawdad or whatever you're imitating. Make it look perfect. But for the most part, you're just not putting it in the right spot yet. Keep moving till you land it in the right little shady spot.
I think to kind of support what your dad was saying also, I think Gita was also, and I'm guessing here, you can confirm it or not, I think he was not afraid to fish around highly pressured areas.
Oh, no.
And I think he fished around a lot of pressured areas all across the country. And I think those variances made the difference. If you're a black and blue guy, I think fish see black and blue a million times.
Yeah.
And you switch up that variance, same thing, but a little bit different.
He wasn't afraid to fish anywhere behind somebody because he knew that most people didn't take the time.
Right.
They don't take the time to get their lure really where it needs to be.
But I think you're the same way too, because I go back to the tournament.
Sure.
There were boats all around us.
Sure.
Because later they were like, "Hey, we saw you down there.
Yep.
Hey, we saw you over there. I was over there, and I didn't see half the boats over there. I saw one."
And it that doesn't scare me that bad to know that people see me every now and then. Because
the presentation is everything.
Presentation's everything. Common sense will tell you more about bass fishing than anything else.
That's right.
And we use a lot of that in our style of bass fishing. A lot of common sense. It's not. My Lawson's the world's worst when it comes to colors because he knows it don't make no difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, he knows exactly don't make no difference. He can pick one up off the floor of the boat that was there 2 months ago. Good enough. And know that it's where you're putting it and getting it in the right little area, And
I'm laughing because I never picked up my bang can Saturday. I stared at it over there. I never used any scent, and it didn't affect any of the outcome of me catching
that's
fish.
probably why you caught them better.
Oh my God! I had to say that out loud. I've seen you use scent.
I have.
I've seen you use
I can't say that I haven't, but
I mean,
it's not something. Man, if I get down to where I think scent makes a difference, I am scratching the bottom of the barrel.
Let me tell you what bakes your noodle, though. So we're flogging along, schlepping along. That's a Dion word, and it's and every smart angler has done this at one time or another. You stop and you go, you know what? We've been fishing for a while. Come up to the good spot. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna retie. And that's what Dad said. He said, I got to sit down. Just this all frayed up. It's gonna cost me. So he sits down. He ties a new shaky head. Puts a fresh worm on. He sprays the crap out of it. Catches a 516. And I still stare at the can, going, "Damn it!" It's like I haven't smelled like garlic all day, but I was about fixing to go for it, and then I'm like, "Screw it, we're gonna go weigh anyway." So it doesn't matter.
My dad, Denny Brower, Gary Klein. There's one other one that's pretty, maybe Hackney. They catch a fish, they retie.
Yeah.
It's just a good rule of thumb. And when I say that, it's not that fish just frayed your line, but it lets you settle down.
Yeah.
It takes all the adrenaline. When you set the hook on a fish, guess what? You're pretty jacked up. I mean, if that was drug induced, you would be higher than a kite because you are wound up. I mean, that's why when you get him in the boat, you're breathing hard and your heart's pumping, and it's because the adrenaline run through your body. If you don't shove that one in a live well, stand back up and make another cast, guess what? If another one bites you immediately, you're going to jerk way too hard. You're going to do everything wrong to lose that fish. So do something menial that really you should do anyways. Sit down, take your scissors, clip your line,
smoke a joint,
retie. Mickey Bruce was one of the better slow fishermen to smoke a joint.
I smoke a joint. Yeah.
Mickey Bruce also thought that you needed a break every now and then. And when I say you needed a break, 9:30 in the morning, it's time for a honey bun. He sat down in the bottom of the boat. I was with him on Lake Okeechobee, 7-fish limit, and we're basically catching them off the bed.
Why do you guys pick sticky food?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Sorry,
He liked it with his coffee. And, of course, he offered it to me, and I ate it like a starving dog.
Proceed.
But we were pitching in Kissimmee grass that would have isolated reeds sticking up in it. And you'd pitch your worm out there by that grass, and you'd have to let it set for 30, 40 seconds a lot of time till you see the fish come back to it. When your bait hit in there, it's so shallow, they would spook away. They were actually standing there on the bed. They would spook away. But you'd pitch your worm in there, and you'd let it sit right next to that reed, which was where he was spawning, in a sea of Kissimmee grass. You put 2 reeds out there, guess what? That's the odd duck out. That's where he's going to spawn, the bottom of them. Pitch that worm over there by it, and he would sit there and he would watch the grass around it. First thing you know, you'd see the grass moving here, and it's that fish making his way back to your worm. You just wait till all the grass quit moving there around your bait, and you shake it one time. Well, he's standing there looking at it, and he's been looking at it for a while. Shake your rod one time, and you catch him. So a pretty methodical thought process went into catching these fish. He has 6 in the boat. I have 7. I've caught 7. He has 6 in the boat. And he says, I'm going to have a honey bun. And I said, would you like me to get that for you? He says, nope. He said, get your crap, get up here, fish away. He walks back to the seat, gets his thermos, pours him a thermos, little cup of coffee, gets out a honey bun, eats that honey bun, and he swore that you should do that at least 2 times a day. I have seen him lead the New York Invitational on Thousand Islands, be leading that tournament. 9 o'clock, he sits down, takes a break. He says you'd get too wound up, and he said if you don't catch them, it gets worse. He said if you're not catching them, then it's like throwing, gas on the fire. You get more wound up, and he said just every now and then you just got to sit down and reset, just kind of take a break, and think about it. And just like your dad, talking about your dad like that, there's so many times that I stop, I sit down, I think, I'm going to tie that on. And get down, tie something on, maybe change colors a little bit, stand up, and win the damn tournament. Catch them and get on them good enough to win the tournament. It's not that I had an epiphany that my mind is that much better than everybody else's. No, I took a minute, I kind of rebooted a little bit, settled down, stood back up, went right back to doing my job like I'm supposed to. I wasn't all wound up, wasn't excited. And trust me, you get just as fired up. I guarantee you, if you get within 50 yards of your spot you're trying to reach it most of the time, you start throwing at it when it's a full cast away.
Right.
You can't help yourself.
Well, yeah.
You're so excited. You can't help yourself. And you'd be better off if you'd pull back here and get close to it, put your power poles down, and stop. Stop, take a minute, don't do a lot of moving around, but stop, do something. Give yourself a minute, then stand up, then you make good, quiet cast, and you really work around good and slow, and there's lots of times. Bassmasters Classic, I was a damn train wreck the last day, and when I say a train wreck, I knew I was going to catch them. There's no doubt in my mind that I was going to catch a decent limit of fish that day. So that's a lot of pressure that's just off. So you can't lay it on that. You can't lay it that, oh, well, I was worried about not catching them. No, I'm worried about how many I'm going to catch. I'm going to catch 25 today. Hopefully some of them will be big ones. And I pull to the first dock, and I make 5 skips, and I got 5 fish in the boat. And then I'm like, holy crap, I got my damn limit. I'm basically, I am so far ahead of 90% of people in this tournament. I've already got my damn limit. And I looked at my watch. I'd been out there like 6 minutes. I'm like, look at this crap, I went to the next dock. Bye, buddy.
Yep. Did you hear that?
Going to Grandma Stacy's house.
Yeah, that's kind of our alarm indicator too.
That's our indicator that the day's about done.
Yeah, we're done.
But I went to the very next dock that I came to, which is actually the dock that I pulled in to fish, but I wanted to fish a dock for kind of to loosen up on the first one. I get to the very next dock, and I lose a dang 5-pounder. And I thought, son of a gun. And it's nothing more. I caught my limit off that one. They were all fairly small fish, but I should have reset. Before I fished the next dock, I should have just retied, retied, take a minute for all that adrenaline to kind of run back out of you, because the very next time I screwed it up. I jerked too hard, broke my line, 6-pounder jumping under the dock, and I'm like, son of a gun. And from that moment on, if I fished a dock and I caught one, I put my pocket in my scissors in my pocket. As soon as I hooked fish, throwed him up in the boat, I reached up there and clipped my line. That way there's no way I could screw up. And I would put him in a live well, cull one, sit down. Oh, I got to retie my jig. Sit down and retie. And it, I could have had 3 or 4 rods laid out, all with the same jig. That's not good if you think about what you're doing. You're just immediately getting back in there, and you're still so juiced up, and you just got to think about it some.
We've all got our comfort rod though too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the right word. It's like comfort food. You have comfort rod. It's the
Sure.
one that just
Feels better than all the rest.
That's right.
Yeah, I've got.
And I've got rods and reels that are exactly the same.
Yep.
I still got one. It's just.
Yep.
better than the rest. You've got those.
I've got 30 of the same Lew's rod and reel, and they're my skipping rods, and I have to go fishing for about 2 days just to find the two right ones that I want to have laid out on the deck with me. Because there'll be two of them that just right, everything's perfect.
I will bet you do the same thing I do. You've got that one rod that's right, and you've got a couple reels that are right too. But if you absolutely get out in the wind and just booger one up really bad, you'll take another reel off, put it on your good rod, right?
Yeah, every now and then.
I've done it. It's I'm not using this one. I'm gonna piecemeal it.
As soon as I started working here part time, you guys showed me how to clean my reels, and I did that. I went through and I cleaned them. Ed cleaned a bunch of them.
Changed everything, didn't it?
You cleaned a bunch of them. Then I got back out there and I'm like, oh, some of this ain't right. This don't feel the same. And it was nothing more than they were like brand new. And there's two,
but not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Two of them in my rod box have never been touched by man, and I am not touching them until they absolutely just lock up completely. I am not touching them.
Well, there is that. I mean, we can have a whole show on rod and reel maintenance.
Sure.
But I say this over and over and over again. Me personally, if it ain't broke,
that's right.
Don't fix it. And I tell the same thing with guys with reels. I mean, yeah, you can oil them, regular maintenance, but if you've got your mojo going, don't jack with it, man. Leave it alone.
New fishing line to me is like a new pair.
Drop it in the lake. Then maybe I'll work
new fishing line to me is like a new pair of socks. I mean, that's nice. I mean, there's nothing better than a fresh pair of socks. Am I right? Come on, a brand new pair of socks. Come on, I'm not the only one that thinks that. Don't act like I am.
Do you want to talk about socks?
New pair of socks makes your tennis shoes feel so much better.
Nothing drives me crazier than to see Amanda put on a sock with a hole in it.
Oh yeah.
Those go in the trash. Instantly. I cannot. I can wear
my shoes without socks, just fine. But no, if I got a hole in my sock, those go straight in the trash.
She'll save one sock when I throw them away because the other one's good. In the event that maybe she finds another one to match, to throw that shit away. I'm not.
That's what you use to clean your boat with.
No.
Run your hand up in your sock.
As if you clean your boat. Come on.
My boat's been cleaned before.
All right. Yeah, before.
Once. It was brand new once.
All right, we're over an hour. I'm done. I'm going to go home. That's it. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
I want to give a special shout out to Lloyd and June at Hiawatha Beach Resort for being our loyal sponsor.
That's right.
And helping us out, and to the guys that show up here. We actually, I said it earlier in the show, but I haven't been paying attention. Our follower base has been growing, and we're almost double where we started.
Nice.
So for the second time. So we were growing on Facebook big. We're on YouTube now, and our followers have almost doubled in the last 30 days. So thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate that. Tell your friends, share these shows. I sound like Randy Blockett. Hey, like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. And if you want, follow our link to buy a good tackle. No, we won't have a link for good tackles. We don't do that because we do the shameless plug instead. And
he made a big step the other day.
I haven't been following. What's up with him?
He canceled his subscription to Bassmasters.
Oh my gosh!
Lifetime membership.
His lifetime? Woo! Block it. His lifetime.
That's a protest there now.
That's big.
That's official.
That is big.
If he starts getting skinny and quits eating because of it.
I haven't had a BSS membership in about 15 years.
I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, not a lot to say there other than so.
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. He's barking up the wrong tree is the problem, and when I say that,
here's the thing. I don't disagree.
In the same podcast, he brought up A-rigging.
Oh, here we go.
And the thing of it is,
I make money on A-rig, so
yeah, you hate it, but then again, it passed. It's gone.
That's a long road to go down if you go to the crappie world where you talk about spider rigging and live scope and the detriment it did to the industry, and here we are in bass, same situation, blah 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 blah
There's
blah
so
blah
many
blah blah.
there's so many
Bleh.
things about what he's saying that is right that it's
But
hard not to listen to. But
Right.
there's also things that okay, that's pushing it too far.
I just think there's moments where anglers can pat themselves on the back.
Sure.
And when I say that, I'm gonna rewind to the beginning of our conversation about Saturday's fishing. I reached down, turned my unit off, because I'm like, don't need this today.
Yep.
And I still think there are a lot of young anglers out there that are unable to do that. And so we pat ourselves in the backs for watching this show and learning how to fish the right way without relying on technology to get you there. Because I think there's where we disagree on that. I think there's two levels. I think you can be the best angler in the world if you can utilize both. But I don't think you can be the top angler only with one or the other. I think you need both.
I fished with that 12-year-old kid, a few times last year, and he got in the boat with me one day when in his tournament, and he knew he was going to throw a jig the whole time. That's all he was going to throw. And first thing he did was he went around my boat and he adjusted all the locators. I caught him not looking. I turned them all off. and he got back up on the front deck of the boat and he went to turn it on. I said, hey, leave that off. And he's like, why? Do you think it spooks the fish? I said, no, it doesn't spook the fish. But I said, it takes your mind off of your jig. I said, you're focused on that as much as you are watching your line for a bite, and making good pitches to the next piece of cover, I said, if you make a pitch in there and you don't see your line swim that 2 or 3 inches, you don't know you just had a bite, And I said, if you look down at that depth finder for a split second, oh, it's 5 foot. And you look back up, it's already moved and stopped by that time, and after it was over with, at the end of the day, he said, he says, I think I did catch more fish. I said, it's something else to steer your focus, away from, if you don't need it, don't look at it. Don't turn it on, because it's something you're going to look at.
Yeah. Oh, well. I have one more shameless plug. We have a tackle store over here at the other side, and you and I'm going to drag you in on it. We've been going direct to China and finding some weird stuff.
Yep.
Cheap. We got a brand new shipment in of the $5 Whopper Ploppers.
Nice.
So if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, come to good old Laurie, Missouri. Check us out at Brian's Osage Outdoors, and we've got some super cheap baits that you won't have to spend a lot of money. You'll catch the fish with.
I'm fishing with them. They work.
Anyway, that's all I got. So, you done?
Yep.
Hey, from all of us here, thanks again for the crowd tonight. It was good turnout, and glad you came back. Was South Carolina, North Carolina? North, yeah. Can't believe I remembered that. 2 beers in, I remember that. So our old fans are coming back for the winter. So from all of us here at Reel and Filter Talk, thanks again for watching the show. It's going to be super hot here in Missouri the next 2 or 3 days. So stay hydrated, be safe. Don't jump in the water when the cruisers run around the points. And we'll see you next week, 8 o'clock. Or 6 o'clock. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Bye-bye.